Good morning, everyone. Today I want to share with you a story about a patient, and some will classify this patient as a racist patient, and how I dealt with this patient. I want to also share with you another story about one of my associate dentists and how they dealt with something similar. So this problem could face any dentist working in a different country than their own country. Like myself, for example, I'm originally from Egypt, and I've been living and working in Australia for the last probably 17 years. And those problems I faced early on in my career, I don't face as much now, but every now and then I will face it as well. So it might benefit you as a dentist or a staff member who is dealing with something similar. So for credibility first, my name is Khaled. I have been a dentist for 20 years. I own my own dental practice in Hervey Bay in Queensland, Lakeside Dental Spa. I took from 1 chair to 10 chairs, from 3 staff members to close to 40 staff members over the course of 14 years. And you can check my details below for credibility. So I want to tell you my story first. So I had many stories, but the most recent one was a bit weird. And I had this patient, probably mid-60s, Australian patient. Australian as me, like Caucasian, Anglo-Saxon patient. And for some, with experience, you can read vibe and energy and body language much easier than when I was younger and new graduates. So his body language was closed. He just didn't smile much when I said, "Hi, how are you? My name is Khaled. Nice to meet you." And he just seems to be very closed off. And he starts right away, "Oh, where are you from?" And I have some other videos how to respond to those questions. You can watch them. But I went through the process and how to respond to those questions. "Oh, can you guess where I'm from?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, "Oh, I guess the Middle East." It's like, "Yeah, that's fine, but his tone wasn't someone who's curious and friendly. It was more like really closed. And he started being, probably some people say he's being racist, but I have a different view of that. He started saying, "Oh, what's this wool in your face?" Talk about my beard, for example. And it's like, he started comments like, "So how many wives do you have?" Implying where I come from, we have 4 wives, which is very rare, very untrue as well. I mean, to be a headache to deal with 4 wives. Anyway, so it's like, "Oh, how many wives do you have at home waiting for you?" And he started giving this kind of comments where he's not saying in a funny way, he's just being, something's off. Now, I'll tell you the story of the associates, and I'll come back to how I deal with those questions and how to do things. My associate as well, similar country as well, or from overseas, and he had a patient who was giving him hard time as well. This kind of questions, but this associate basically stood up and stood at the door and started yelling and screaming at the patient, "Get out of my room! You're not welcome here! You're racist! Get out!" And the whole practice stopped and like, "What's going on?" And the patient walked out and never came back again. I don't think he did the right thing. He reacted very emotionally. He was very angry, the dentist, and I don't think that was the right thing to deal with the patient. And I had a chat with him about it. But anyway, back to my story and how to deal with those kind of things. I would say there's a big difference between racism or a racist patient and a xenophobic patient or xenophobia. Racism is a very big word, and both are not good, both are bad. But racism is basically they believe their race is superior than other certain races, or other races are inferior genetically than their race. That's a very bad thing, and it's very rare, to be honest. I think most of the problems we face, if anyone coming from a foreign country, is more xenophobia than racism. Xenophobia is simply saying those patients have a fear towards anything that's different and foreign, or from a foreign country or a foreign language. They have a problem with foreign languages. They have problems with people from foreign countries, foreign cultures, foreign habits, and usually it's linked to some bad experience or some bad ideas they heard from other people or something they have witnessed themselves. So I don't think this patient thinks that he is superior than me genetically, or that my race is inferior than his race. Probably Egyptians are classified as white Caucasian as well, so probably similar race or same race. I think he had more of a xenophobia, and it's bad enough because it's very close-minded. But when you understand that, then you can see the problem a little bit different, and you can debate it a little bit different. But if you see your patient as racist and they just purely think your race is inferior, you cannot debate racism. Racism is very, very difficult, very bad things to debate. And those who have racist views, they don't usually change it. Very rare you'll see someone who's purely racist will change their views. They will live and die probably racist. But xenophobic can change their point of view. So those patients, you gotta be calm. You gotta be very collected. You gotta address their behavior. And I have a technique called EIC, example, impact, action, change. So situation like that, he asks this question, oh, what is this swollen in your face? You know, and so how many wives do you have? So I think the will I let it go, I just looked at him, I didn't say anything. Then he started saying about how many wives do you have at home? And that's when, okay, your anger is building up, so you need to relax your anger. The best thing to relax your anger is lean back. If you're sitting on a chair, lean back against the wall, lean your body language and start to open your body language a bit more. Start opening your arms, put your arms next to you, just start to calm yourself down. When you lean back and open your body, you calm yourself down. And then, yeah, I see, look, I realized when you asked me, you know, was this wool in your face? I didn't feel like you're asking to, you can see it's my beard. I feel like there's something behind it. But it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, or makes me even more curious to understand what is behind the question. And when you say how many wives at home, you're probably implying that, you know, there's something I could be doing, or you suspect I'm doing, that you don't agree with or doesn't agree with your ideology. Tell me more about that. What's your view? Let them talk. They might tell you, oh yeah, you know, I watched this in the news, I heard, you know, people where you come from, they do this, they cut people's hair, I don't know, whatever they come with you. I mean, this patient, when I addressed with him, like, he said something on the way, look, I just, you know, I travel, I used to work with the army. I think he's a retired from the army. He went to Iraq or some areas in the Middle East, and he went through some horror stuff when he was in the army there, and that gave him a lot of PTSD, and he have PTSD from certain people in certain areas. Look, I understood. So, you know, thank you for that. So, you know, what do you want to do today? I feel it seems like when you came to me, you didn't expect you would see me today, or you didn't know how I look like or whatever. So, do you still want me to be your dentist, or you would like to see someone else? I have no problem with that. But you asking me those kind of questions makes me uncomfortable. So we have to find a way, if we're going to work together, to put this aside and just, you know, we're not going to talk about that, obviously. Let's talk about dentistry and accept me as your dentist and just focus on that and ignore where I come from. But if you think this is going to be a problem for you, it's going to bring back the memories you had or whatever, I have no hard feelings. I'm happy to work with you as a dentist. No problem at all. So tell me, what do you believe? And this patient, I think, was okay. It's like, you know, no, this is my problem. It's not your problem. I'm really sorry. He was apologetic. I'm really sorry I asked you those questions. You know, I understand now. He separated. He managed to separate it from whatever bad experience he had. And again, if I approach him in a polite way, I didn't kick them out, I didn't yell at them, and they took the information like, you know what, I think I'll struggle working with you as your patient. I prefer to see someone else. Shakes them hand, no problem. Thank you for being honest with me. I wish you all the best, and I hope your view might change one day. It might not change, but I'm really glad you're honest about it, and all the best. Let them go. So that's my approach about it, and I've been doing this for many, many years, and I never had an issue. Again, racism is very rare. Xenophobia is very common, even within certain countries. Where I come from, in my own country, if you live in Cairo, you will look at people living in other villages in a different way, from the south or from the north. Even I see in Australia, people living in cities, they treat people living in rural Queensland very differently, and their habits, their cultures, the way they speak, the way they eat, the way they go out, they treat them in a more inferior way. It is what it is. We are human beings. But don't accept it, don't let it go, address it, and try to establish whether you are going to be their dentist or whether you accept them as your patient in a calm, professional way. Never yell at them and kick them out. That's not how we do things. If you find the information helpful, make sure you like and share with your friends and colleagues. If you want to hear more about my videos, please turn notification on, subscribe to the channel, and you'll be notified when more videos are released. Thank you so much for listening to me. It means a lot to me.